My name is John Davis, and I just can't chill. Hey everybody, it's me again, John Davis, here with another episode of I Just Can't Chill. Let me get situated, excuse me. Make sure this mic is straight. Yes, I am back again. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to the Brigade. I want to get that in before we start the whole show. Shout out to the Brigade. But thank you for tuning in. We will have your weekly review that we always have for you all the time here on this show. Then we will go ahead and bring on, no special guest today. We don't have a special guest today. But nevertheless, we thank you for tuning in for this week's episode. As we always do, we'll give you this quick break to let you think about some of the things you want to try to escape and do. And we'll be right back for you. Also, want to give a big shout out to our big supporters from the CBD community. They checked us out last week, and they will continue to check us out and support us. But we'll get right back to you guys. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of I Just Can't Chill. I'm your host, John Davis. We thank you again for tuning in. We're going to get right into it. I know some of you all are going to be enjoying this week's episode while you continue to enjoy the lost summer, the summer that was stolen from you. But nevertheless, news doesn't stop. And the people who are not on vacation like you still have to work, and they got some things done, particularly within our government. Some of the things that happen will deeply affect the forward movement of the relations that we have internationally. And we'll start with, of course, the news coming from the president's cabinet, the administration, the Biden administration. We're in the 6th month of this new regime, new administration, excuse me. And while we're here, currently right now, these guys, these men and women, are trying to distinguish themselves from our prior administration. And they're doing a pretty good job, and particularly what we had this week with Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. Her comments about the strengthening of the borders, or just the continued security of the borders between the United States and Mexico, were highly highlighted across all the news networks, as we saw recently with her comments basically discouraging illegal immigrants from crossing into the border. Quite the comment she made about not coming, not coming into the United States was definitely something that she was harping on. And it's important that we continue to focus on those words that she spoke. Do not come. Do not come. Now, why would she say that? Well, if you've been following within the news, particularly if you've been back in the political world staunchly, we know that the United States and Mexico's border relationship has been a big political picking tool for a lot of people, whether it was garnishing votes or just establishing business relationships. It's been something that's been on the minds of millions of Americans and Mexicans, Hispanics who live down there, who are potentially thinking about coming into the United States, whether it be for better job opportunity or better location, escaping some dark, violent communities down there. they would possibly want to come to the United States. It's been a big talking point for the past years. And Kamala Harris's comments basically just harp back on what's been said in the past couple of decades, in the past decade at least, from my lens, that we want to continue to keep an eye on immigrants coming into this country. So do not come. Remember that, guys. Do not come if you're thinking about entering this country illegal. But wait. You just can't get off the hook like that. Especially if you are, even if you are the Madam President. And, of course, as you might have heard, those comments that she made about not coming were met with some blowback. Most people would consider her a immigrant herself and a woman of color. And for many, they felt that the comments were a little bit insensitive, a little bit too harsh, especially Senator Alexandria Cortez. She was really adamant about the comments made by Madam President Kamala Harris, noting that she was also an immigrant as well, and that these type of relationships within this context can still be managed diplomatically and in a safe and secure way as we move forward. And that was one of the main things that most people would say was the big draw politically within the news this week. We're also preparing for Biden's anticipated meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. It's kind of getting drawn up as a big meeting, man. I've never seen anything like that before. But considering everything that's been going on within the past years as well, the stains of the last administration are still left on the country's cloth, and they're trying their best to clean that up. And so this meeting with Vladimir Putin, with President Biden, is something that he's been looking forward to for a while. One of the things, as I was perusing through the article in Time written by my man Brian Bennett, one of the things that Biden plans on doing is to definitely educate Putin on the strength of America's cybersecurity. And, if he's not good on computers, this is something that you might want to keep your eye on. As you may have known within the past couple of years, again, here we go, the public scrutinization of Russia's relationship with America is strictly highlighted on Russia's possible intervention within the past election. We also had another cybersecurity attack within the past month that affected our colonial pipeline. And so Biden wants to make sure that Putin does not have his hands in it. Now, you never know with a guy like Putin. I've never met him before, but, his resume pretty much speaks for itself. He's a pretty meticulous person, thoroughbred, knows what to do if he wants to get anything that he wants done. And so it'll be interesting to see how Biden is able to draw him in and say, hey, man, you got to cut the bullshit. We want to do things fair and balanced, and we don't need y'all fucking our shit up. I'm sorry for, I'm trying my best with the and the vulgarity, but, hopefully I can just make it plain for some people who are not really understanding. With this meeting, this is the Geneva summit that is upcoming, and so we will see what'll happen. Maybe there will be a change of heart in Putin, even if there is some type of established covert cyber attacking going on by his hands. We'll see if Biden is able to make him stop doing this. But in the meantime, best thing we could do right now is continue to be mindful of our surroundings, both physically and, as you can see, cyberly. So, yeah, man. Make sure you're checking all your computers, all your gadgets, all those things, trinkets, and make sure they're clear of anything that you see suspicious. It could be tied to any type of attacks. They might be taking your information. Who knows? If you got any friends in the tech world, shoot them a call, ask them what's going on, and hopefully they can help you out there on that side. All right, so we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, It's going to be an interesting topic here. Something that's been going on for the past 2 weeks. Comments made by a celebrity that pretty much just shook up a lot of my peers, and it was a good talking point. Excuse me, amongst many people, young and old. So we'll get to that after this break. Listening to I Just Can't Chill, and my name is John Davis. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the I Just Can't Chill podcast. I want to thank you for tuning in for another episode. I want to give another notice to the listeners out there that you can visit us on the official Instagram page. That is I Just Can't Chill at on Instagram. And then you can also shoot any questions for us at the I Just Can't Chill email address. That is ijustcantchill@gmail.com. You can shoot us questions there, or shoot us a DM on the Instagram. The Facebook page is coming as well, and I'm pretty sure they might get frequented with a lot of concessions and concerns, especially after this next topic. Now, about 2 weeks ago, end of the month, the great actress Monique, comedian, whatever you would like to distinguish her as, philanthropist, some people will even recognize her as that, made some comments, some comments just about her own personal observations about dress and appearance. In these comments, she basically wasn't being critical of the appearances of black women, but she suggested that perhaps that black women should carefully consider wearing headgear, head scarves in this sense, and I'll get to that later, while out in public. But in the video that she made addressing the situation, she admitted that it was hard for her to even come to grips to saying what she was going to say about her observations, but it was just something that was on her mind. Here's just a quick quote from her, and I quote, I've been seeing it not just at the airport, so she was at the airport. I've been seeing it at the store, at the mall. When do we lose our pride in representing ourselves? When do we slip away? Let me make sure I'm presentable when I leave my house. Guess her comments basically were letting people know that the bonnets were only meant to be seen, especially for women, in places where they're not in public. And I reiterate that because while I looked into the whole discussion, some people figured that it mirrored some type of tone of respectability politics, which if we have some time, we can get into that. But it made me wonder about, in particular, the whole concept of the bonnet. I'm not really familiar with hairstyles or any type of beauticious techniques, cosmetology techniques amongst black women too well. Of course, I have a mother, but I wasn't really that interested in it. If you are, I would suggest watching the Good Hair documentary. That is somewhere on the internet. That was by Chris Rock. I saw that film as well, and it gave me a little bit more clearance about that culture of hair for black women. But in this sense, the bonnet, this hat that is used derived from the French word, and it is typically, as most people would know if they touched upon it, could be made of silk, and there's different types of material used from it. But I guess one thing that made me want to circle back to these comments is that the bonnets originally were worn in public. Uh, as you can see through our research and some of the things that I've looked at, it was often worn by a lot of Amish women and a lot of conservative Quaker women within the Americas. Um, Now, I'll leave that to your own type of conclusion and, critical thinking as to how these bonnets ended up getting into the culture of the African American community. But nevertheless, looking at that, it made me rethink some of Monique's comments and also wondering, you know, when we say things such as being presentable in public, what are we really trying to give out to the many people that look at us every day? Um, and I also thought that this was just gender based, but as a male, I would agree that some things that you do, that you have on yourself, will bring some attention on you, whether it is a hat or a scarf. Guys wearing face tattoos. I mean, it's either one or two things, man. It's just a guy you don't fuck with, or a guy that's got a lot of money. And I'ma just really keep it G on that end. Um, you know, I'm not sure what most people consider women who wear bonnets out in public as. Some people might consider them to be threatening. I've never really thought of it that way. But again, I'm speaking from the male's perspective. Um, and again, uh, knowing the history of the bonnets, it is kind of a little bit more pick or choose, give or take, with the whole concept of people being willing and able to wear these. They're kind of beautiful. I'll say that. They look nice to wear these head coverings in public. Um, and so while she did double down in the comments, Monique, excuse me, while she did double down in the comments this past week, I wonder, people who have been wearing them, will the comments make them reconsider wearing bonnets? I know, again, the comments mirrored a little bit of the respectability politics, especially with black people within white spaces or even just spaces in general. Uh, but again, appearance does matter in some aspects. Um, Hopefully, when I have the time to bring on some guests to talk about Monique's comments, maybe we can have a panel of sorts about the whole aspect of public perception and image and fashion. We'll even get into that as well. So, man, if you got your bonnets, don't throw them away. Keep them, of course. And if you're going to wear them outside, you definitely got to know that you might be drawing in some unwanted attention, just like with everything else. Even if you weren't wearing a bonnet, obviously you could be drawing in some unwanted attention. So, peace to Monique. She's a powerful black woman. And we'll see how this goes. It's definitely causing a lot of conversation. And again, even if you want to break it down gender based, these are some good points to have, good conversations to have with people in your family, your friends, all that jazz. You still want to look good, feel good, and, all that. But nevertheless, we'll continue with this show. We'll take another break. Um, when we come back, we'll do a little sports wrap up, and then we'll finish the show. We got some big events coming up in sports, and just want to talk about that briefly. All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to I Just Can't Chill. Want to give a big shout out to Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, man. Shit, man, they did it, man. The fight happened. As you know, last week there was an exhibition in Miami between Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, who is a YouTuber. We're thankful that we saw this fight because within that fight, we gave opportunity for a lot of other young boxers to showcase their skills. We even had an appearance from former NFL wide receiver Chad Ochocinco, formerly known as Chad Johnson. It was good for a lot of people, man, who are definitely still in Miami, still want to get a taste of the nightlife as we move forward, familiarize yourself with what it's like to be at boxing events. We're going to get into some more combat sports in a minute, but just definitely want to give a shout out to that event that they put down there in Miami. I'm assuming Floyd won the fight. Again, it's an exhibition, so no one really wins, no one really loses. But of course, the main thing that was spoken about is the amount of money that was drawn in, considering that Floyd Mayweather is a genius marketer and promoter, even for himself. I'm hearing reports that the fight brought in close to at least $100 million, albeit it was an exhibition. So shout out to Floyd, the Mayweather team, promotions, all of that. Definitely want to get into Stephen A's comments about the fight, which will help us segue into what I'll talk about within these next couple of minutes about combat sports. But Stephen A, I definitely don't think this was bad for boxing. And if you are familiar with what Stephen A said about this fight happening, doesn't think it gives any type of influence or motivation for people to want to get back in the ring. It's a violent sport. Logan Paul, albeit he is a YouTuber, took the opportunity to take this fight. And Floyd, again, being the mastermind marketer that he is, knew that there was a slight draw behind his name. Also considering his brother being affiliated with him, Jake Paul, who has been, I'm guessing in a sense, terrorizing other athletes within the ring. But nevertheless, assuming that the Paul name, Logan and Jake, that name was bringing attention, Floyd took that opportunity, and there we had that exhibition. Definitely don't want to feel like within sports there should be a lot of gatekeeping. Again, we're coming out of at least within the past 4 to 5 years, an era of where anybody could do anything. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Anybody got the opportunity to do something that they weren't even qualified for. So definitely don't think that is acceptable to be having that viewpoint within sports. You get out there, you got to do what you do. And like they always say, you can't play boxing. So he went the whole 8 rounds. I'm not sure if he'll do it again, Logan Paul, that is. We do know that Jake Paul has a fight with Tyrone Woodley of the mixed martial arts community. And that fight might be happening in like August, I think. So yes, Tyrone Woodley, former MMA fighter, UFC welterweight champion, former UFC welterweight champion, will be fighting against Jake Paul, and that'll be happening in August. And while we talk about the UFC, man, I definitely want to get into this card that is happening within the mixed martial arts community, UFC 263. Before I begin, I definitely want to give a big shout out to Clarissa Shields, another combat athlete, former boxer. She made her MMA debut this past week in the Professional Fighters League, and she came out on top, winning her fight last night against Brittany Elkin in a TKO victory. And so she's pretty much trying to, be a legend in 2 games. And right now, it's starting off on a good foot. Of course, she's 1-0, but we'll see. From one viewpoint, definitely needs to work on her ground game, so to speak. I'm not too much personally involved Like I'm not an MMA fighter, but I was at once a participator in wrestling, athletic wrestling, Olympic wrestling, and so UFC is something that's caught my eye for a while. So that's just my critiques. We're definitely looking for some more people to come speak about more MMA events on this show. But based off what I've been watching, man, I got some picks, man. Now again, I'm not a professional gambler or any of that. I'm not a bookie, but I definitely like this card, this lineup that Dana White has put together. So if you could just bear with me for a second, man. Let's put back on some more tunes. Let me give you my UFC 263 picks. Oh yeah. And again, want to give another big shout out to Kicks and Tees 919 for sponsoring this segment of the show. So let's get into these picks, man. So in our main card, we got Paul Craig coming in with a record of 14-4-1 draw, going against Jamal Hill. He has a record of 8-0, 1 no contest. Jamal Hill, I know for sure, came off a big victory over St. Preux in his last fight. And again, with this record at 8-0, we'll see what happens. Who am I picking, man? I'm getting Jamal Hill another dub under his belt. So he might be coming out of that 9-0. Shout out to Jamal Hill. That's what I'm picking. Next fight, we got in the welterweight division. Damian Maia, 28-10. A veteran in the UFC game against Bilal Muhammad. Some people may know that Bilal Muhammad's last fight ended in controversy against Leon Edwards. We'll get to Leon Edwards in a second. But nevertheless, Bilal Muhammad had another fight scheduled, and he'll be going against, again, Damian Maia. I like Damian Maia. He's real skillful on the ground, knows how to put you in some tough holds. But, Bilal Muhammad really has a striking advantage in that game within this fight. So give me Bilal Muhammad in that one. Next in our welterweight division, we got Leon Edwards, as I mentioned, record of 18-3 against Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is such a popular draw in the UFC community. Everyone loves Nate Diaz. Not a traditional fighter by trade, but he comes from Stockton, California. His brother also fought as well. Again, he's a crowd favorite. Everyone likes Nate. Notable victory against Conor McGregor. So that happened for him. But, Leon Edwards, again, has been on a tear. He's won his last 2 fights. So I think he'll come out on top against Diaz in a decision. Want to note that. In the co-main event, we have in the flyweight division, Deiveson Figueiredo against Brandon Moreno. This is the second time they will fight. Deiveson Figueiredo has definitely run amok within that division, within the flyweight division. So I think I'm going to go with Figueiredo again over Moreno. Moreno is a good boxer, but Figueiredo's ground game, submission techniques might be a little bit too much, and he might catch Moreno on that. Let's give me Figueiredo on that. And again, in the main event, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Israel Adesanya, the last stylebender, against Marvin Vettori. This is the second time they will fight, but this time it'll be for the title. I believe the first time they fought, it was just a non-title bout. And Israel, he's been talking about it. He says he wants to prove that the first time wasn't a fluke. He defeated Marvin Vettori by decision, and I'm pretty sure he's got it on his agenda to finish his fight early, maybe with a knockout, maybe with his patented flying knee. But yeah, man, give me Israel Adesanya in this fight. But I think it goes back to the scorecards again, because Vettori is showed off his ground game a lot. You can get a lot of points for that. So those are my UFC picks. Be sure to check it out on pay-per-view. And we'll be back in a few minutes to close the show. And you're listening to I Just Can't Chill with John Davis. All right. right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of I Just Can't Chill. I appreciate your time as always. Continue to support this podcast through the subscriptions to the YouTube channel, and by following the Instagram page. Again, we're working on more socials for you all to interact with us. And again, if you didn't like anything in this show, any concerns, please feel free to reach out again to the mediums that I have available for you. Again, our email address is ijustcantchill@gmail.com. The Facebook page, I Just Can't Chill, and as well as the YouTube channel under the host name John Davis. You can look for the YouTube channel there for all of the past and recent episodes and interviews that we've done. Am I missing anything else? Looking at my producer right now. I think that's it. Yeah, guys, continue to be safe and enjoy your summer. Making sure you're being safe. Do what you need to do. Handle your business. Take care of your mentals, man. Definitely want to give a shout out to, everyone that's been coming out of a dark place. I'm really proud of you. Continue to have that positive mindset going forward. And, know that there are resources out there for you as well. I know this show is called I Just Can't Chill, and I'm talking about myself in a sense. But, if you are out there right now struggling with something, wanting to break out of a mental hole, please feel free to reach out to the resources, National Suicide Hotline. And, you can also reach out to us. We'll definitely help you out. Thank you so much for your support. That's it, man. Be safe. And, man, remember to pay your bills. But just remember, I just can't chill. Peace. I'm 1,000 miles away. Some things a rhyme can't say, but let me start from the heart and sincerely state thank you. I thank you all for showing love to me. I appreciate this unique opportunity. I'm gonna rock so hard you never stop supporting me. I'm gonna show you how music gives more meaning to life. I thank the fans for showing love to me, and I respect the fact you always keep it real with me. It keeps me centered when I need some fuel lyrically. Your desire for my insight gives me reason to write. I thank you all for showing love to me. You made this journey something that I hold close to me. I see hip-hop as a global link community. It makes sense that music brings more meaning to life. I thank you all for showing love to me.